Welcome back to BS with Brian Simpson. We on our way to Houston this weekend, and then the next tour gonna be January. We coming to Atlanta. I think we coming to Bend, Oregon, and then we doing Magoobies out in Baltimore. So that's in January. This gonna be the last show of the year. Hey man, we about to rock out in Houston. I don't know what y'all think going on. We about to do the damn thing out there. Okay. I'm bringing the homie Derek Poston. I'm bringing the homie. Actually, but y'all ain't gonna see this. Yeah, this is gonna come out on Sunday. So whatever. All right, you know how we do it. We're gonna start off. We getting right to the emails. Let's see here. Brian. Hey, Brian. This is Brian. Great name, right? Yeah, sure. Anyways, I'm gonna keep it short. I'm not a gamer, but I've heard plenty about Diablo from you and others. First question, do you believe that Elon Musk is the number one player in the world, or did he pay for the title? Half joking. Second question, if you believe he actually is, exactly how impressive is that when you consider him owning multiple multi-billion-dollar companies? Do we chalk it up to his ability to hire the best people to run everything so he can spend his time playing Diablo? I guess that is actually 3 questions anyways. Love your comedy and the pod. Hoping to make it to Austin to see Bottom of the Barrel live. I'm a propane delivery driver in Orange, Texas, and wintertime is our busy season, so hopefully I can see you in the spring. Keep taking ass and kicking names. That's funny. All right, look, first of all, everybody on Path of Exile right now. That's the Diablo killer to me. But more importantly, I have no idea what that means. Number one Diablo player in the world. What does that mean? Because what are they measuring that by? Because it's not a competitive game. There is a PvP area or a couple PvP areas, but it's not like, what does that mean? He's the number. What are they measuring by? Are they saying? Because first of all, no, that's impossible. There's people that listen, man. There's people who it's literally all they do. There's people that play Diablo for a living. Like they do it not from the game itself, but like they do it. Well, no. So 2 things. Some people they will pay for rare items. And you can trade, like you can go to a website, buy shit, then go in the game and they trade it to you, that kind of thing. And so it take a lot of playing to farm those items because it's a random drops and shit, right? So, and then there's people that make content, you know what I mean, for Diablo or in other games. And so it's like, there's no fucking way, because that's a full-time job. There's no fucking way he's the number one player. It depends on what you're measuring by. If you're saying most hours in the game, there's no way he's even close. If they're saying he's collected the most gold, I don't think so, because you can't buy that. And again, he just doesn't have the time to be. It's just like, think about how crazy that statement is. And I don't know, because someone else has brought that up to me, and I don't know if he said it, like if he was just like, I'm the best. But again, Elon Musk, to me, he's moved into this thing like Trump. Like, they both have cults, you know what I mean? And the people in the Elon cult, and again, I'm not necessarily against Elon Musk, but I scrutinize him just like I scrutinize anyone. But there's people in this Elon cult where it's like anything he doesn't have to prove anything he says. If anything he says is just the truth, and if you disagree, you gotta prove that he's wrong. That's how it's people like that in this cult of like. So I don't know if he said that, but he must have if people are asking me about it. But it's absolutely not possible. You know what I mean? There's people that just put their whole lives into that game. And he doesn't have time to do that. And again, it's not a competitive game, so I have no idea what metric they're using to say number one or number two. You know what I mean? What is number one? How? I don't know. It's not like, it's like saying, you the number one. I don't even know I don't even know something to compare it to that's not video game. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is? It's like saying you the number one amateur driver. Like you the number one person driving just out on the street, not on a racetrack or nothing. You just the number one driver in Texas. Just what are you measuring that by? Least accidents? Well, a lot of people have zero. What? I don't know, man. Because that's the question. That's what it sounds like. You ask me. It was like saying you the number one. Eater. You eat the best. What does that mean? You eat the most. You eat the best meal. What does that mean? It's like doesn't mean anything. My analogy game is on E right now. But yeah, I don't think that's true. Because again, the question doesn't make sense. And even if it did make sense, it couldn't be true because again, there's people that play this game way more than him that understand the ins and the outs. He ain't a stupid guy, but again, nothing. You can't. You have to have time. You have to have the time to play the game. You know what I mean? Like it's motherfuckers that they beat the game. They beat hardcore mode. Immediately, like within a week of the game being out. You know what I mean? And hardcore mode means you level the player, you level the character to level 100, right? And you beat the game, which takes about. It took me the first time I leveled a Diablo player to level 100. It took me like I don't know. Like a couple weeks, a few weeks, and that was me playing like a lot. Let's put it in hours. It took me probably 30 hours to level a character to 100. So they did hardcore means they did that without dying once, which is, I mean, the type of people that even start a game like that is nuts. One death and your character's dead for good. You don't respond, none of that. You got to start all over. So you could be 29 hours in. And some shit could shoot you from off screen, you dead. You know what I mean? Anyway, no, I don't think that's true. Next question. We back. Hey, Brian, cat guy back. Cat guy back. Is this the cat guy with the girlfriend that won't let him sleep? Okay. I'm guessing that's who you're talking about. I have an unrelated situation to bring to you. I'm someone in recovery, was homeless for 7 years, did heroin, meth, and did lots of jail time. I've been clean going on 4 years in January. I started volunteering in recovery when I was very fresh because I thought utilizing my lived experience to help those like me was what I would want to do. Fast forward to now, and I work in the courts, jails, and with police departments helping people into recovery. I love my job, but also struggle with if this was the right direction to go. Sometimes I feel very burned out and get irritated with the population I work with. From my eyes, it seems obvious what people should do if they want to get their life together. And when you're dealing with people who are unhoused and on drugs, the chances of them listening are slim. I'm at a point where I realize I don't know who Devin is or if what I am doing is what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. If I were to change paths, I have no idea what direction I would go, so I feel stuck. Either way, I am grateful for the life I have, and I'm happy I don't have to live in survival mode anymore. Keep them tight, my brother. We appreciate you. Okay, Devin. So I didn't really see a question in there. Yeah, man, but I mean, I've been there before, the downside, I grew up in the system. The downside to getting into public health and I forget what else you call it, community outreach, like all of that thankless shit where you're just helping people and helping families and helping children. The problem with getting into all of that is that the job in and of itself has no from the jump, you don't have the resources to give people everything they need to get where they need to be. So all you can do is point people in the right direction, give them a little bit of what little resources you have, and hope for the best. Your job is to plant seeds. You know what I'm saying? It's up to them to water the tree. You feel me? Your job is not to give them trees. Your job is to plant them seeds and then walk away and hope it grow. But like I said, that shit'll wear you down. I had two two social workers quit in my whole childhood. They just, because it's a lot. it's a lot to just watch people suffer, to do everything you can, which isn't much, to help, and then realize that, like, statistically, they're gonna fail anyway, you know? So that's very normal to be in. And if you're looking to move on to the next thing, I mean, you got a lot of life experience, maybe go into public speaking, motivational speaking. Maybe take your experiences like beyond being on boots on the ground and go somewhere where you can like inspire people that need to hear it. Maybe catch motherfuckers that just got out of prison, that type of thing, help them get their life together, help them get, because they need a lot of help to not, be victims of recidivism. I guess it's weird to say you're a victim of recidivism, but you know what I'm saying? They need a lot of help not to go back to prison. But whatever, like do what you're naturally inclined to do, because that's the name of the game in 2024, 2025, is you got to find a way to make money from the thing you do anyway. That's really what it is. I mean, right now, you're writing my podcast and you know who I am, but 5 years ago, nobody knew who I was. But I was content because I was barely getting by, but I was only doing comedy. And I was like, yes, this is it. This is the way. Because every job I had before that just made me want to, it just felt like I was dying slowly, So, yeah, that's where we at with it. Yeah, good luck on that, brother. Okay, this is from the spam account. What we talking about? Anon, please. Okay, just wondering what Christmases were like for you growing up. I've heard you mention you were in foster care and also homeless at one point. Is that right? Yes, it is. What was your relationship like with Christmas, and how has it changed now that you've got more security? At first, I thought it must have been sad for you, but then again, maybe it was more meaningful for you back then without all the materialism. But maybe it was lonely without family. How does this affect you now as an adult? Just curious. I know this isn't the typical question you answer. I'm poor and alone for Christmas this year and could use your perspective. Well, I've always had a real weird relationship with Christmas and birthdays and just obligatory gift giving time, especially with the women in my life, because women don't believe you when you tell them that you don't want gifts. And so, you know what I'm saying? It's a weird thing. Like, just mostly the women in my life, they can't imagine that you don't want what they would want. You know what I mean? So it's like, because if your woman tell you, you don't got to get me a gift, what she really means is you better get me a gift, right? But if you tell her that you don't want a gift, she goes, well, if I said that, I would want a gift, so I'm going to get them one anyway. You know what I mean? And it's like, and the thing is, it's not that I don't enjoy gifts. You feel me? It's just that I don't enjoy forced gifts. It's less thoughtful. It's like I would much rather receive a gift on a random Wednesday just because you saw something and thought of me, than for you to go up coming up on Christmas time, got to get this nigga something. You know what I mean? Because I don't want. And here's the other thing too. This is really the main thing, is I don't want the obligation of getting you a gift. And so anyway, Christmases as a kid, well, we had one Christmas where our house burned down. It was gifts under the tree and all that, and house burned down. This was when I was still with my biological mother. This was before foster care and all of that. House burned down, gifts all gone, but we still had a motherfucking time, and we had another Christmas in February. That was awesome. Like, we got gifts in February. But after that, as a kid, I guess I kind of enjoyed it. But I enjoy Christmases and birthdays and all this other, but I learned, so the fire made me realize that, like, it wasn't even about getting shit, None of us burned to death. You know what I mean? And we were still eating good. It was one of them things. And then way, way later on, when I was like 11 or 12, I remember it was on my birthday. So I don't know if I've ever told the whole story, but I was actually in foster care twice. I got taken out of foster care by my biological father, and I lived with him for 2 years, and I got put back in foster care. But the day I moved in with him, it was my birthday. You know what I mean? again, I was like 11 or 12 or something. And it was me. So it was me, my brother and my sister, my little brother and sister, and my father and my stepmother. And I moved in on my birthday, and it was early in the morning when I got there. So it was nothing going on. But up to that point, um, we'd always had our birthdays celebrated. And I mean, and I lived, my first foster home was my older brother's grandmother. And it was probably, I think, 11 kids at one point in there. And everybody always got something, some kind of set. It was one of the things where we did all of the shit. You got a suit for Easter. We got a big meal on Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Christmas, that sort of thing. Everybody got birthdays. Sometimes you got joint birthdays, you know what I'm saying? If they was close together, because like, we ain't having a party today and 3 days from now. So it was like that kind of thing. But you always got like a spread, a gift, a cake, that kind of deal. But then on this day, I'm thinking, oh, it's gonna be some kind of surprise, clearly, So I'm walking around the house, I'm peeking through shit, I'm looking on, and as it started to get later and later and later, I started to be more like, wait a minute, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? It got closer where it's like, well, okay, well now it's late enough where, I don't remember what time it was, but it was like, hey, we definitely ain't going anywhere. You know what I mean? So where's the gift? And I felt like that all the way up till midnight. I thought people was fucking with me. I was like, okay, 11:59, all right, and I'll never forget, like, the way my stepmom like nonchalantly was like, we ain't doing shit. No. You know what I mean? Just like, no. My father too, but it was like, no, we ain't got no surprises or nothing like that. It's like, word? So just nothing? Like, yeah. And it took me a long time. I was so pissed. I couldn't show it, obviously. But I was so pissed because it was like, but I quickly realized, I was like, oh, it was your expectations that made you feel like that. Like, why did you expect that from these people? I was salty about it for a long time. But then I realized, like, oh, you know what? So that's when I started the practices. It's like, I never got, from that point forward, I never got anybody anything for their birthday. And my deal with everybody was just like, hey, you don't got to give me shit, and I'm not giving you shit. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the women in my life would still get me shit. Oh, I know you wanted it. I was like, not really. My expectations are zero. Do whatever you want. And most of the time, it's a gift that ain't thoughtful anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, here's some socks. Oh, thanks. I didn't need those. You know what I mean? I'm not even into that. Or they would go in the store and go, what are the teenagers into? And they would just buy you something because the store told them, you know what I mean? It's like, because they don't know you. So what else they gonna talk to? Anyway, I guess that's not really a straightforward answer. But the thing is, like I said, it's your expectations that got you feeling some kind of way. You can get a gift any day. You can buy yourself a gift. You don't have to, I just don't put the pressure on my friends and family to get me things or even to do things. Like I've been doing comedy now for 14 years. I don't, and I've never pressured anybody to come to a show or none of that, because I'm not coming to your shit. I want you to come to a comedy show if you into comedy. You know what I'm saying? But you trying to take me to go see The Sound of Music or some shit live or, Disney on Ice. I'm not going to that shit. I don't care if you in it. I'm not going, because I'm not into that. I'm not going to suffer. I'm not going to suffer so you happy. But yeah, man, everything is about perspective. I think that's what it really is all about. It's just your perspective. You can only be disappointed if you expected something, and it's like, are those expectations realistic? It's like, you expecting to get showered with gifts, even though that's never happened. No, man, buy yourself something. Enjoy your peace, right? Enjoy the blessing that you don't owe anybody else a gift. God, the obligation. It's stressful for me. And listen, I totally understand that's not the normal take. because I've expressed this to friends and stuff like that, and they look at me like I'm fucking, like, oh, you're gonna ruin your kids' childhood. And it's like, maybe, but who knows? Maybe they'll teach them not to try to keep up with the Joneses, because they want something because somebody else got something, and it's like, I don't know, but I don't have kids, so it don't matter. I have this cat, and that bitch don't know about Christmas. You feel me? All right. Last email, last but not least. Hey, Brian, I hope to hear your thoughts about the murder/assassination of Brian Simpson, CEO of United Healthcare, as he walked toward the hotel in New York City hosting the annual shareholders meeting. 3 bullet casings were left behind, and I defendant deposed, inscribed on them. The assailant's backpack was later found in Central Park. Social media responses run the gamut from outrage, whatever, to cold-blooded indifference. Look forward to hearing what you have to say. Well, listen, if you go to my Twitter, you will see that the day that happened, I tweeted, CEOs of healthcare companies being murdered is all I wanted for Christmas. And yeah, you should see the responses. At first, it was all negative because for whatever reason, there's so many bootlickers in this country that think that they're in this club where they think, oh, this is what my side is supposed to say, right? And then until you stop and think about it, it's like, this is not a partisan issue. Yeah, fuck those people. They're evil. He's evil. You feel me? He perpetrated evil in this world, and one of the responses I got was crazy. He was like, so he was a CEO. That doesn't mean that he deserved to die. And I was like, sure it does. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to shed a tear for this motherfucker. You know how many people he's responsible for killing? So they could, and he was on his way to the meeting where he was going to brag about all the shit he did to make them money. Because listen, guys, the only way an insurance company makes money is to deny you care. That's why for-profit insurance is nuts. Right? It's like, think about that. You pay an insurance company a small sum, let's just say, $500 a month, for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, right? Well, no matter how much you paying every month, you pay, let's just say, you pay, let's just for the sake of easy math, let's say you pay $1,000 a month in insurance. Nobody, very few people do, but some people do. Let's just say you pay $1,000 a month in insurance for 10 years, right? So what's that? 1,000 times 12 is 12,000 times 10 is 120,000. So you've given the insurance company $120,000 if you pay $1,000 a month for 10 years, right? Now you need a surgery, right? That costs $150,000 plus aftercare is another $50,000. Well, if they pay for that, they just lost money. You understand? So it's like the only way they profit is to deny stuff, is to not give you the care, and there's people that have died because of it, or they found out at the last minute they're not covered because of some technicality they found in the contract. Like they incentivize people to find ways to not pay you, and this guy was a CEO of the largest healthcare company in the country. They're the largest. No, let me put it like this. They're the 4th or 5th largest company in the country. You understand? Billions, hundreds of billions. Like it's like Apple, Amazon, Google, Walmart, United Healthcare. Those are the top. So think about that. How rich they are. And you can draw a straight line from how rich that company is to how many Americans they fucked over. And it has nothing to do with politics. It's not across political lines, because that's one thing they don't look at. They don't look at who you voted for or what you registered as when they trying to deny your ass. They don't give a fuck about none of that. They just, hey, look, what can we get away with not giving this motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? So I don't give a fuck if these niggas dead. Because this dude said to me, I said he was responsible for all these deaths. And this dude said to me, yeah, well, so was Dr. Fauci. And I'm like, well, look, that's debatable, right? Some people feel that way, some people don't. But it's like, if Dr. Fauci died, how would you feel? Would you be telling, like, it would be people celebrating for sure. Probably people on the other side celebrating for sure. Would you tell them, hey, guys, this is Amanda, right? What did you do? What did you do when Osama bin Laden got killed? Did you go, guys, he was a human being. Fuck you. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. He was responsible for countless deaths, and you didn't give a fuck. You might have celebrated. That's exactly how I feel about this motherfucker. Some people deserve to die. Some people's deaths make me happy. Most deaths make me sad. But some people, yeah, when they die, it's a good thing. You know? It's a good thing that these motherfuckers aren't operating with impunity. Now they feel unsafe. They done took the pictures down off the websites, all of the insurance companies. Now you can't see the faces of the people. People already know who you are. But you can't even see the faces. They took it down. They stepped up security. You know, anything but doing the right thing by Americans. You know? And listen, they're going to have a hard time convicting this motherfucker. They done found the guy, or so they claim. But either way, I mean, they're gonna have a hard time convicting this dude. They're gonna Jeffrey Epstein this nigga. They're gonna find, because what they can't have is for a jury of his peers to acquit. There's a such thing in America called jury nullification, and it basically means, you know, when the jury can be like, yeah, I think he did it, but still, I'm not voting guilty. You know what I mean? And there's nothing that can be done about that. Because a judge can overturn a verdict, but not a not guilty verdict. They can overturn a guilty verdict, right? A judge can be like, I don't think they understood the law or they didn't apply it correctly or whatever. But if you find the person not guilty, a judge can't do shit about that. You know, and how you gonna get a jury of his peers to find him guilty? 12 people. You know, how you gonna find 12? Because, you know, the defense got to get a say so too. How you gonna load that jury up with enough people where all 12 are gonna say guilty? You can't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. You're gonna have to do that shit in like Connecticut or somewhere. You know what I mean? Where it's like one of them small cities in Connecticut. It's just all rich niggas. You know? Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, would I have called for dude to kill that guy? No, but I'm damn sure I ain't gonna act like I'm sad. It would have been more awesome if he'd have waited till he got to the meeting and killed a whole bunch of the more motherfuckers in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But I like how he did it smooth. I like how he went straight after who he was after. He didn't shoot up the block. He didn't shoot up the building. He walked up to his ops and killed that nigga in broad daylight. Beautiful, beautiful work. You know? Should he get away with murder? I don't know. But Brian Thompson got away with murder. You know what I mean? It's just that simple. He just did it. He did it indirectly. So you know, it's slide. That's the dirty little truth about our country, is that if something is profitable, it's very easy to get away with it. Right? Didn't I just read about a sheriff's department that was cooking crack? They were cooking crack. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not. Florida prosecutor seeks, so this is in Florida, obviously. Florida prosecutor seeks to overturn convictions in cocaine sting operation. A Florida prosecutor says he will seek to vacate as many as 2,600 convictions of people who bought crack cocaine manufactured by the Broward County Sheriff's Office for sting operations between 1988 and 1990. They was cooking crack, selling it to people, and then arresting those people for buying crack. The shit, right? It's like, and that was, you know, like he said, how many convictions? 2,600 people, lives ruined. No justice for them. No justice for those people. Nobody's gonna get punished for this. And how often is that the case here? Right? If it's a government agency or if it's a big rich tycoon motherfucker, nobody gets punished. Or one scapegoat gets punished and then everybody goes back to business as usual. Right? Who went to prison for the housing thing? Nobody. I can't name a person. Who was the face of that? Nobody. Who went to prison from Enron? I don't think anyone. And the one that was going to, he offed himself. Right? So it's one of them things where it's like, that overwhelming shit you hearing from people is finally some justice. Finally, these motherfuckers get to feel a little bit of that fear that they terrorize American families with constantly, over and over and over and over and over again. Right? People also forget United Healthcare is the number one healthcare provider for the government, for Obamacare, for Medicaid, right? So like in a world where like you have to have insurance, like you have to deal with these motherfuckers. The overwhelming majority of Americans, you gotta deal with this piece of shit. Right? And let's be honest, that's what he was. He was a piece of shit. And he was gonna go celebrate with all these other pieces of shit about how big of a piece of shit he had been and how rich it made everyone in the room. You know? And we know we know why. The police are still investigating a motive. We know what the motive is, motherfucker. This dude fucked with his life somehow. I forget the guy's name, Luigi Mangini or something, Mangiani. Yeah, it was something personal. It was either him or someone close to him. They fucked him over. We know this. Of all the CEOs he could have killed, of all the CEOs of all the healthcare companies that he could have murdered, he chose this one in particular. Planned it to a T. And almost got away with it. But I don't think he wanted to get away. But we'll see. But to answer your question, I don't shed a single fucking tear for these pieces of shit. Not a single one. I don't give a fuck. Listen, I hope it turned into a spree. Because how awesome would it be if they found another one of them dead tomorrow? Oh, no, not the CEOs. That's how some of you fucking bootlickers sound. No, not Brian Thompson. He ain't never hurt nobody. He ain't did nothing. Come on now. He's hurt millions of people. You know what I mean? It's so nuts how our healthcare system works. And the thing is, I watched a cool YouTube video of like foreigners reacting to American healthcare stories. You know what I mean? It's like, we are the world's leader. And since COVID, that image has been shattered. People were questioning it heavily before that. But since then, it's like we didn't take the lead. And now that like the layers are being peeled back on the American dream and the way it works, people are disillusioned with that shit. Like they see now, wait a minute. So the richest democratic country in the world, if you get sick, you either gonna die or you're gonna go into crippling debt. There's no other thing. Like if a lot of these countries that have single payer, is like the worst that's going to happen is you're going to have to wait, and that's only if like they treat you by triage. They go, well, who needs it the most? That's who gets it first. But you're still going to get it, and the only thing you got to pay for is parking. You know what I mean? If you need a heart surgery, you can just get the surgery and not stress about how you're going to come up with $100,000. You know what I mean? Because the stress will probably kill you. You already got a weak heart. You feel me? This happened to me recently here. I went to the emergency room. I had like stomach issues. I went to the emergency room. And I'll never forget, man, like I'm in pain and I forget what they'd given me for the pain. If it was morphine or what the fuck they gave me. Or maybe they hadn't given it to me yet. Yeah, I'm in severe pain, and the VA has this thing where like there's a VA nurse hotline, like a telenurse thing, and so if you call the telenurse and you tell your symptoms, and they say go to the emergency room or go to urgent care, then the VA will pay for that. So you can go to any emergency room, like you can go to a lot of emergency rooms anyway. Like they are in whatever the VA's network is or whatever. But if they tell you to go to the urgent care, they paying for it no matter where you go. You feel me? And so it was one of those situations. The telenurse was like, go to the emergency room. So I go to the emergency room. I leave straight away. And so anyway, I'm laying in this emergency room bed, right? I'm in pain. I wouldn't say severe, but it hurt like a motherfucker. It wasn't like unbearable, but it was close. And the doctor's telling me like, so we're gonna run these tests, the nose test, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna give you a little something. We're gonna give you some of this and some of that, and we should give you a little something for the pain, right? And then he walks out of the room. And then this sneaky old bitch. This is out here. It's called St. David's. Don't fuck with these people, right? I go to this hospital. So this sneaky old bitch, she slides in the room and shuts the shit behind her, right? Very sneaky like. And she has a little cart with a laptop on it. And she's telling me that she just needs me to sign a form saying that I'm responsible for whatever it costs. And I was like, it was funny because the last time I was at the hospital, I didn't have to sign such a form. The VA should be paying for it. And she was like, yeah, but you don't have your veteran's ID, so I can't verify that you're a veteran. I was like, well, yes, you can. Because this is the way it works. You give there's a hotline that they give you, the hospital calls the hotline. Right? And since you were told by the telenurse, they already expecting the call. So the hospitals have to call the hotline and go, yep, we cover him, boop, 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 social, yeah, blah, blah, right? And this bitch just didn't want to do that. She just didn't want to do her job. And, and she basically implied, she all but said it directly like, well, if you don't sign this, I don't know how shit is going to turn out with you. It was that kind of thing. So I signed the fucking thing because I'm like, whatever, the VA will take care of it. I'll just call in the morning, blah, blah, blah. And so I get out of the hospital, I call the VA, and they go, oh, yeah, so you just need to call the hospital and get the hospital to call us. I was like, okay. So I call the hospital, and the hospital goes, we don't make outgoing calls, so you need to get them to call us. Now, so imagine that. The hospital saying we don't call shit, and the VA is saying we don't call shit. Right? So for 6 months, these motherfuckers been trying to send me collection notice. And listen, and I got the bread. I think it ended up being like $1,200 or something like that. It's like, and I got the bread, but just out of principle, I'm like, I'm not paying that shit. And eventually it all got straightened out and taken care of. I hope, but it's like, but imagine a lot of people don't have the bread, especially if you go to St. David's, which I had just moved to Texas, so I didn't know better not to fuck with that hospital. But a lot of people don't have the bread. You feel me? And they just preying on people. This little old bitch, and again, if somebody choked her in her sleep, I wouldn't shed a tear. You know what I mean? She's just doing her job. Okay, she's doing an evil job. She's doing an evil job. She's just doing her job. So were the guards at Auschwitz. They was just clocking in. You feel me? It's like, you don't get to do an evil shit for a job and then act like you didn't do anything wrong because you was doing what you was told. What you mean? But that's not even that's not even really analogous to this situation, because I guess you could make an argument that some people are coerced, but this isn't even that. This guy was a CEO. You know what I mean? No one was telling him shit. He was doing it because he lacks empathy, man. He lacks empathy for families. He lacks empathy for people that are in pain or in distress or whatever. I don't think the health insurance industry should exist. That's me. I don't even think there should be no such thing. There should be no middleman. And because listen, we know this as a fact. The United States spends more money on healthcare. I'm talking about the government spends more money on healthcare than any other country. You know what I mean? We spend more money on healthcare than any other country, and we have one of the worst healthcare systems of all of the developed nations. We have, I think, what are we like? 14th in life expectancy or something crazy? Even though we spend more money than every other country on healthcare, we have worse healthcare. And it's because these fucking greedy, sick middlemen are between you and your doctor. And we've created this like socialism boogeyman where people feel like single payer healthcare is one step too, then we're communist Russia. No, we just stop fucking over everyday Americans, you know? And if we can't get that, then I'll settle for a healthcare CEO getting popped every now and then. You know what I mean? Fuck them. Man, I had a way funnier take when it first happened, when somebody asked me at Bottom of the Barrel. By the way, I host Bottom of the Barrel every Tuesday at 7:30 and 10:30 at the world famous comedy mothership right here in Austin, Texas. If you're ever in Austin, come through. It's a hell of a time. We're also sponsored by Bug Assault. Okay, they don't sponsor the pod yet, but they do sponsor the Bottom of the Barrel. We give out Bug Assaults, every night. We give out, I think, 4 or 5 of them every night. So, that's where we at with it. Again, guys, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want advice from the advice champ, email me at BSwithBrianSimpson@gmail.com. If you want to come see me on tour, go to BrianSimpsonComedy.com. And there'll always be tickets available there. I don't use the link tree anymore, but it just seemed inefficient to have a link to a link that linked to something else, So, it's all going to be on BrianSimpsonComedy.com. And I'll see y'all next time.